Young students can feel terribly lonely even if they live in cities surrounded by thousands of other people. Team CoLearning, CoPassion wants to fight this particular problem. Their weapon of choice is compassion skills. Next on stage, Anna Seppänen.
Bring back to your mind a situation in your life when you felt rejected by other people. At that moment, your brain reacted in the same way as it would have reacted if you had physically been hurt. Some of us experience constantly this pain of being left out. And research tells us how truly, tangibly harmful that is. Unwanted loneliness causes sleep disturbance, heart diseases, diminished immunity, self-destructiveness. With time, lonely people learn to fear new social situations. For this young boy, loneliness has become so unbearable that he would rather choose to be beaten up than to be lonely. And alarmingly, young people are among the loneliest. 1/5 of Finnish youngsters feel that they don't belong to any group. 15% suffer from loneliness all the time or often. We're talking about a pressing societal challenge. We know that loneliness correlates with other social problems, and the longer it continues, the harder overcoming it becomes. Half of lonely adults were lonely already as teenagers. Urban life has a contrast that makes loneliness feel even more painful. After moving to city from somewhere else, changing job, changing school, some young people don't succeed in finding new connections. They are surrounded by all the possibilities, but they're alone. United Nations holds inclusion and participation essential to sustainable cities. To our understanding, this goal can't be reached without fighting loneliness. A sustainable city starts with people who are connected and who trust each other. If we lose young people in the cycle of loneliness, we are rupturing the very basis on which sustainability builds on. The psychological and physiological mechanisms of loneliness are reversed to the mechanisms of compassion. And surprisingly, we are among the first scholars to point this out. We include in the definition of compassion also the benevolent motivation and the actions to promote the good of the other. Compassion fosters high-quality social connections, meaningfulness in life, self-compassion, even cognitive capabilities. Compassion launches positive cycles. It increases the well-being of the recipient and the actor. It even affects the third parties who just witnessed compassionate encounters. So this surge of compassion leads to quite the opposite direction than the surge of loneliness. So the question is how to spread compassion. The superheroes of preventing and decreasing the loneliness of youth will never be us researchers or any other authorities, but young people themselves. Numerous studies tell us that peer support is highly efficient and easy to implement. That's why we are creating a research-based learning model where more experienced, trained students teach compassion skills to their younger peers. The compassion model is targeted at all students of upper educational institutions. And our job as researchers is to find out the best practices to support the peer-to-peer connections. whether it's digitally assisted encounters, bringing in mentors from working life, or something completely different. And luckily, we have a good multidisciplinary toolkit to do this. We will first organize pilot models in universities and then in other educational institutions. To find out what works, we will study the effects with qualitative research, intervention research, digital methods, and with biomarkers as well. With proven efficiency, the model can be spread and applied in different urban settings. Together with our partners in 3 continents and 5 countries, we're ready to start a chain of compassionate educational organizations. So, what are then those compassion skills? We have studied them already in our previous project called CoPassion, widely recognized in Finland and abroad. According to our work, compassion skills include, for example, recognizing strengths in oneself and in others, regulating one's emotions, being self-compassionate, and being co-passionate. These skills aren't just something you should use with the people you like, but also with those whose worldviews you don't perhaps understand. At individual level, the compassion model gives students tools and opportunities to build social connections. At the level of educational institutions, as communities, it creates uncompetitive, safe social spaces. At societal level, as we decrease the severe consequences of loneliness, we strengthen trust and connectedness between all people. All this will accumulate towards inclusive, connected communities. And they are the basis of all social sustainability in cities. We all make choices of compassion every day, also in relation to loneliness. Choices of inclusion or exclusion, participation or rejection. So we invite you all to choose to spread compassion in your everyday life.